Daniel and Ryan are both 46 years old. They both live in Phoenix, Arizona. They both earn $92,000 a year. They both have $340,000 saved for retirement. They both have the same employer, the same 401k match, the same mortgage payment, and the same dream: to retire comfortably by the time they reach their mid-60s. Then one decision changes everything. Daniel decides he's close enough. He tells himself he'll slow down, work a little less, and stop aggressively investing because retirement isn't that far away anyway. Ryan makes the opposite decision. He looks at the exact same numbers and decides these next few years are the most important years of his entire financial life. Both of them think they made the smarter choice. They're both wrong, because the real age where retirement quietly becomes almost impossible isn't 50. It's later than most people think, and earlier than almost everyone realizes. The difference between these two men won't become obvious next year. It won't even become obvious 5 years from now. In fact, if you looked only at their lifestyles during the first few years, you might actually think Daniel made the better decision. Less stress, more vacations, nicer weekends. Ryan looks like the one sacrificing his life, but by the time the numbers fully reveal themselves, the gap between them is so large that it changes not only when they retire, but whether retirement is really a choice at all. And that's exactly why this conversation matters. To make this comparison completely fair, both men start from identical positions. They're both 46. Both earn $92,000 annually. Both contribute 10% of salary into a traditional 401k, and both receive a 4% employer match. Both have $340,000 already invested in broadly diversified index funds. Both expect long-term annual investment returns averaging around 7% before inflation. Neither receives an inheritance. Neither wins the lottery. Neither starts a business. No lucky breaks, just ordinary decisions that millions of people make every single year. Now here's where their paths separate. Daniel decides that after age 46, he's earned the right to ease off. Instead of increasing retirement contributions as his income rises, he freezes them. Whenever he receives a raise, he spends it. A newer SUV, more dining out, a larger travel budget. Nothing outrageous, just lifestyle upgrades that feel completely reasonable. Ryan does something almost painfully boring. Every raise goes toward increasing retirement savings. When his salary increases by 3%, his retirement contribution increases too. Instead of freezing at 10%, his savings rate gradually climbs until he's contributing roughly 18% of salary by his early 50s. There's nothing exciting about watching numbers grow inside an account. Nobody compliments your brokerage statement. Nobody notices another percentage point of savings. Feelings and math are two very different things. Daniel feels wealthier almost immediately. Ryan doesn't. But retirement doesn't care how wealthy you feel. It only cares about what the numbers become. Let's walk through exactly what happens. At the end of year 1, Daniel's portfolio grows from $340,000 to approximately $378,000 after investment growth and contributions. Ryan finishes at roughly $381,000 because of slightly larger contributions after redirecting his raise. Only about a $3,000 difference. Hardly life-changing. Daniel looks around and thinks, "See? I didn't need to sacrifice." And honestly, at this point, he might be right. This is where people make one of the biggest financial mistakes of their lives. They expect compounding to look dramatic immediately. It doesn't. Compounding is painfully unimpressive in the beginning. Then it becomes unstoppable. By year 3, Daniel's account reaches roughly $463,000. Ryan reaches about $478,000. Now the gap has grown to around $15,000. Still not enough to completely change someone's life, But something important has quietly happened. The larger account is now producing larger investment gains completely on its own. Ryan isn't just adding more money anymore. His money is beginning to earn more money. That invisible transition is what almost nobody notices. Daniel still feels ahead. He's taken 2 additional vacations costing around $6,000 each. He upgraded his SUV with payments roughly $220 higher every month. Those purchases weren't reckless, they're completely normal. But normal decisions repeated for years often create extraordinary outcomes. Now we arrive at year 5. Daniel's retirement balance grows to approximately $562,000. Ryan reaches nearly $603,000. The gap is now about $41,000. Notice something interesting. Ryan didn't personally contribute $41,000 more. Much of that difference came from investment growth working on larger balances year after year. That's the flip point. The story quietly changes. Early on, additional savings create the advantage. Later, investment returns create most of the advantage. On paper, Daniel still has more disposable income every month. Sounds great, until you subtract everything else. His larger vehicle carries higher insurance premiums averaging another $400 to $700 annually. Maintenance begins increasing after warranty expiration, averaging roughly $800 to $1,500 per year. Fuel costs climb another $900 annually compared with his previous vehicle. Depreciation quietly removes thousands of dollars of value every year, even though nobody writes a check for it. Those costs rarely feel expensive because they arrive separately. One repair, one insurance renewal, one tire replacement, one registration bill. Individually, they're manageable. Collectively, they're powerful. Ryan has expenses too. His older vehicle occasionally needs repairs. His investment account experiences market volatility. Some years his balance actually falls, despite continuing contributions. That's uncomfortable. But volatility isn't the same thing as permanent loss. By year 7, another subtle shift begins. Daniel receives a promotion. His income jumps to approximately $108,000. He celebrates by expanding his lifestyle again. A nicer neighborhood restaurant every weekend. Premium streaming subscriptions. More convenience spending. None of these decisions are outrageous. Individually, each costs maybe $100 here, $250 there, another $180 somewhere else. Together, they consume nearly every additional dollar of income. Ryan receives the exact same promotion. Instead of increasing monthly spending by the full amount, he directs roughly half toward retirement. The rest improves his lifestyle modestly. This matters because retirement isn't built on one heroic decision. It's built on dozens of ordinary decisions repeated consistently. Now let's fast forward to year 10. Daniel is now 56 years old. Ryan is also 56. Same age, same employer, same city, same economic conditions. Daniel's retirement portfolio has grown to approximately $768,000. Ryan's reaches nearly $906,000. The difference has expanded to roughly $138,000. Notice how quickly the gap accelerated. During the first year, only about $3,000 separated them. Now it's more than 40 times that amount. Neither man suddenly became a financial genius. Neither discovered a secret investment. Nothing magical happened. Compounding simply reached the stage where it started doing most of the heavy lifting itself. Daniel finally notices. He opens his retirement account one evening and realizes something feels off. He expected to be much closer to his retirement goal by now. Instead, he starts doing what millions of people do in their mid-50s. He begins wondering whether he'll need to work a few extra years. At first, that doesn't sound like a major problem. Maybe 2 more years, maybe 3. But retirement math has a way of snowballing once time becomes limited. As retirement gets closer, every lost year becomes dramatically more expensive than the one before it. When you're 26, missing a single year of investing is frustrating. When you're 56, missing a single year can permanently change the outcome. Let's keep following Daniel and Ryan. At age 58, Daniel decides it's time to catch up. He increases his retirement contribution from 10% to 18%, matching what Ryan has been doing for years. Sounds like the obvious solution, but here's the problem. He isn't buying more time. He's trying to buy back time that's already gone, and the market doesn't sell yesterday. Even with the larger contribution, Daniel is now adding money to a portfolio that's about $140,000 smaller. Every 7% year means Ryan's portfolio earns roughly $9,800 more without either man lifting a finger. That's the cruel part of compound growth. The larger balance compounds faster. By year 15, both men are 61. Daniel's account has grown to roughly $1.05 million. Ryan's has reached approximately $1.32 million. The gap has widened to about $270,000. On paper, Daniel is a millionaire. Sounds incredible. Until you subtract everything else, healthcare costs are beginning to rise. He's still making payments on lifestyle upgrades that felt affordable years earlier. He's replacing vehicles more frequently than expected. Property taxes have increased. Home insurance premiums are higher than they were 5 years ago. Those aren't unusual expenses. They're exactly the kinds of costs most retirement calculators quietly ignore. Ryan faces rising costs too. His insurance is higher. Groceries cost more. Travel costs more. Inflation affects both men equally, but his larger portfolio gives him something Daniel doesn't have: margin for error. If the market falls 20%, Ryan is uncomfortable. If the market falls 20% while Daniel plans to retire next year, it can force an entirely different retirement date. That's why retirement isn't just about reaching a number. It's about having enough flexibility that one bad year doesn't rewrite your future. Now let's zoom out to age 66. Daniel has worked continuously. He's increased contributions during the final stretch. He's done almost everything financial experts recommend. His retirement portfolio reaches approximately $1.46 million. Ryan's reaches roughly $1.89 million. That's a difference of about $430,000. Assuming a commonly discussed 4% withdrawal guideline, Daniel's portfolio could potentially provide around $58,000 annually before taxes. Ryan's portfolio could potentially provide roughly $76,000 annually before taxes. That's an annual difference of nearly $18,000 every single year. Not because Ryan earned dramatically more, not because he found better investments, not because he took extraordinary risks, because he recognized that his late 40s and early 50s weren't the end of the game. They were the most valuable years remaining. But here's what almost nobody talks about. Everyone loves talking about retirement balances. I've got $1 million. I crossed 2 million. Those are the numbers people post online. Those aren't the numbers that determine retirement. The first hidden layer is inflation. If inflation averages around 2.5% over 20 years, purchasing power falls substantially. A retirement income that feels comfortable today may buy far less 2 decades from now. The second hidden layer is taxes. Traditional 401k withdrawals are generally taxed as ordinary income. A $70,000 withdrawal isn't the same as spending $70,000. Depending on tax brackets and state taxes, thousands of dollars may never reach your checking account. The third hidden layer is healthcare. According to Fidelity's annual retiree healthcare estimate, many 65-year-old couples may need hundreds of thousands of dollars over retirement for healthcare expenses alone, excluding most long-term care costs. That's a real expense, not a theoretical one. The fourth hidden layer is sequence of returns risk. If poor market returns happen during the first years of retirement, withdrawing money while investments are down can permanently reduce how long a portfolio lasts. Two retirees with identical portfolios can experience completely different outcomes simply because markets behaved differently during their first few retirement years. The fifth hidden layer is longevity. Many people plan financially as though retirement lasts 15 years. For healthy retirees, 30 years isn't unusual. Running out of money at age 90 because you planned only until age 80 is still running out of money. If I only showed you the downsides of slowing retirement contributions, I'd be doing exactly what too many financial influencers do. There are genuine drawbacks to Ryan's strategy too. Saving aggressively requires sacrifice. It reduces flexibility today. More money inside retirement accounts is generally less accessible before retirement age without taxes or penalties, although there are exceptions. Investment markets are volatile. The S&P 500 has experienced declines of more than 30% multiple times throughout history. Someone increasing contributions during a bear market may temporarily feel like they're throwing money into a hole. Emotionally, that's difficult. And there are situations where Daniel's approach can actually make more sense. If someone carries credit card debt charging 22% interest, eliminating that debt often produces a better guaranteed return than increasing retirement contributions beyond an employer match. If someone has no emergency fund, building 3 to 6 months of essential expenses may deserve priority before dramatically increasing retirement investing. If a worker expects a substantial pension replacing most retirement income, the urgency to maximize additional retirement savings may be lower. And if someone plans to sell a highly valuable business later in life, that future liquidity event changes the entire equation. Context always matters. That's why personal finance is personal. One size rarely fits everyone. Still, one pattern consistently appears. People don't usually fail because they started too late. They fail because they mistakenly believe they still have more time than they actually do. According to the IRS, annual contribution limits for tax-advantaged retirement accounts increase periodically, and workers age 50 and older are generally eligible for catch-up contributions that allow them to save beyond the standard limit. Those rules exist for a reason. Lawmakers recognize that many Americans reach their 50s behind schedule. The opportunity is real. But catch-up contributions work best when they're building on momentum, not trying to replace an entire decade of missed investing. So what's the practical playbook? First, calculate your retirement number using realistic withdrawal assumptions instead of guessing. Second, increase your retirement contribution every time you receive a raise, even if it's just 1 percentage point. If your income rises by $300 a month, save $150 before you get used to spending it. Third, review your progress every year instead of every decade. Small adjustments made early are dramatically easier than giant adjustments made late. And finally, don't confuse a comfortable lifestyle today with financial independence tomorrow. Those are different goals. Daniel and Ryan both walked away believing they'd made the smart decision. Daniel believed life should become easier as retirement approached. Ryan believed the final working years deserved his biggest financial effort. Neither man was irrational, neither was careless, but only one of them ran the complete numbers. The real trap isn't spending money. The real trap isn't saving money. The real trap is making one of the biggest financial decisions of your life based on emotion, headlines, or someone else's opinion instead of running the numbers for your own situation. Because retirement doesn't happen all at once. It happens one contribution, one raise, one skipped increase, one ordinary decision at a time. And if you're wondering whether delaying Social Security or retiring a few years later can completely change this equation, that's a completely different conversation. Did you include everything? Because the answer that includes everything is the only answer that matters. If this video helped you see something you didn't know was there, subscribe to Wealth Blueprint and hit the notification bell. We break down the hidden math behind the financial decisions you face every day.